community is adapting. Go to science.
So this is the phone charger arm for the Highlander that fits in that hole where your USB cable goes through. This is specifically for the Toyota Highlander. My model year is 2019, but I believe 2017 to 2019 has that little hole. I don't know about the other years. So obviously I made this because I wanted to use my wireless charger that didn't block any vents and preferably didn't use suction cups. With those three requirements, wireless charging, don't block or use or clip onto vents, and don't use a suction cup, there's really nothing out there. So I bought an existing wireless charger, removed the arm, and then made this ball so that it fits on there. Most of these I have found to be 18 millimeters in diameter. If yours is different, you should measure it and let me know, and then we can try to make something that'll fit. But or just get one that's they're pretty standard. I've bought like 3 of these holders, and they all use the same size ball. But you want to measure yours to be sure. So obviously it doesn't include a charger, because you can get whatever wireless charger or just a phone holder that you want. And the actual parts will be black, made out of this heat resistant material. But as it's kind of hard to see anything, I'll illustrate how to assemble this using these nice bright parts. So a word on 3D printing. 3D printing is not a manufacturing tool. It is a prototyping and hobbyist tool. That means that things are kind of unfinished. You're basically taking a spool of plastic, melting it, and then reshaping it 0.2 or 0.15 millimeters at a time. In other words, it puts down a layer that's 0.2 millimeters tall, and then the next layer that's 0.2, and then so on. So if you imagine 5 layers for 1 millimeter, it takes some time. This takes about 5.5 hours, as does this. This takes a couple hours, this takes a couple hours, so you can imagine what goes into this. It's a lot of waiting, but you do have to babysit the printer to make sure everything prints correctly. And as far as the unfinished goes, so 3D printing is laying down melted plastic, and obviously you can't do this smoothly or easily because of gravity. Gravity will want to pull that plastic down, so sometimes you need supports. And where those supports were that I removed is a little bit of roughness. And that's just the way it is. That's how 3D printing works. There are ways around it, like gluing and whatnot, but with this I was able to get away with mostly no supports, a little bit of supports here, so you're going to see some roughness here, maybe some roughness here or here. You just have to live with that when you 3D print. You are welcome to sand this. I am not going to sand this for you. If you do decide to sand it and make it smooth, take whatever precautions not to breathe in plastic dust. Wear a mask, wear gloves, or whatever you want. Or don't, but I wouldn't want to breathe that stuff in. So if you want to make it smooth, you're welcome to sand it. I tried to make it so that the supports, for instance the supports will be on the bottom, you won't see it. This is on the bottom, you won't see it. I am going to try to print this way, and then the supports will be here and here. But once it's covered with this, you won't see that either. So they won't be visible, and it doesn't affect the function at all. So the assembly order is, this goes up through the bottom, and if when you insert this, it's going to be tight. It's so tight, in fact, I had to remove the lip on this side. There's a lip on the front, but not on the rear. I had to remove it because it was hitting the USB port covers. So the first thing you want to do is cover all your USB port covers. Close them. Close those covers. Otherwise, this will hit it, and then if you force it, you'll probably rip them off. So just make sure you close all the USB covers. Do not complain to me about any damage you do to your car. I have not damaged my car installing this. If you damage yours, you're doing it wrong. So don't force anything. Close the USB covers. Insert this in, and you can try to shove it in all the way through, but if you do, everything will be a little bit tight. So when this first starts poking out the top, then insert this. And this is kind of gives a lot of area so that the arm doesn't bounce around as much as it can. So this, you'll notice these tabs are kind of thin. They will break if you muscle it. They're just a guide. They're only to guide this into place, because this is where the hole is on the top. So this isn't meant to do any kind of support or whatever function. Once the screw goes on, it will clamp this down, and then the pressure will hold the arm in place. So when you first get these pieces, I would try assembling everything outside of the car to make sure nothing's too tight. You don't want it too loose either. I mean, don't lube it up or anything, but you want it to move easily like this, so that when you're assembling it, you're not fighting it, because that area, that shelf, is kind of cramped, and I wouldn't want to be struggling with anything. So just assemble everything first, take it all apart, and then assemble it again. So bottom part comes up. When you see this come through the shelf, insert this about here. Oh, yeah, before you do that, so let's step backwards. So you assemble this. Here's the angle. The arm is coming up. I want it like this. I don't think you want it like this. You can try that if you really want. I mean, it'll work both ways, but then I think this will put the phone holder too close to your knee or your leg as you drive. So I designed it to be this way, and this is meant for an M3 by 8 or M3 by 10 screw. You can use the standard version of it, the English version, maybe what is that, 1/8. It's just plastic, so a machine screw or even a self-tapping screw if you wanted to. Just remember, this screw is only there to prevent this from coming out. That's it. The screw does not make it any tighter. If you muscle the screw in, you strip the hole, then you got a problem. Only put in the screw enough to stay there. So here I have an M3 by 10 millimeter aluminum screw, and I've got this on my lowest ratchet setting. So and that's it. That's all you need. So don't make it too tight. Don't use the highest torque setting, and strip it out. Okay, so as I said, bottom first. This from the top. Give it a little bit of space. I wouldn't go all the way down. It's just going to make it hard to work with. Give it a little bit of space. Put the arm in, and this is going to be pointing to the back of the car. This will be pointing towards the front of the car. The angle, there is an angle under the dash shelf, and this, it can't go in this way. It has to go in this way. You'll see this angle. And then thread this on. Now the threads are a little bit loose. There's some tolerance in there built in, which means you can put this in cross-threaded. See, it's not going in straight. So this side is higher than this side. You don't want to do that. So just make sure you line that up, or unscrew it to here, click, and then you'll know it's going on straight. Oops. You'll know it's going on straight. So when it goes on straight, obviously these will be even. And that will tighten up and then hold the arm in place in the car. And then insert your USB cable from the top out the bottom. At that point you can uncover your USB port and plug your phone charger in. And that should be that. Alright. Have fun and good luck. Thanks. Everything's good on the bottom. Okay. Let's put our charger. This cable's gonna go like this. Just put that back there for now. Tighten this up. There we go. Now it can move, but not easily. Same with this. I could go tighter, or I might make a TPU ring that'll go in between the arm and then the one plate that sits on this dash. That'll add some friction. But we'll see. We'll try this. Okay, insert our USB cable. Has to go at an angle. It's still just a little bit tight. Wire to the back so we don't see it. Go ahead and plug this in. I have a second charger here for the passenger. Put that in as well. Push those cables just to the back a little. Alright, and we are good. If this cable gets in the way, you can always zip tie it to the arm. I'm just gonna shove it like this. That'll keep it. Oh, you could wrap it around once too. Yeah, let's try that. I'm gonna remove it from here. There we go. Awesome. Okay, perfect. Right about there.